Get those wet wipes back out, everybody, because Monk is coming back. So Peacock is going to have this. They're bringing all the original cast back, which I think is huge. The original cast members are all signed back on. Stottlemeyer's coming. Trudy's coming. You got, I mean, everybody's coming back here. So Taylor Howard, Jason Gray Stanford. You got Ted Levine. I mean, everybody's coming back here. They did 125 episodes in the first run of the series. In 2002, it ran till, which is nuts. 8 seasons. Primetime Emmy Awards, 2-time SAG Awards, won 8 Primetime Emmy Awards. I mean, huge. Tony Shalhoub was kicking asses. It was a huge character for USA. And you know what? I didn't watch till afterwards when it was off the air, but I love it, man. I love it. I fell into it later. I binge watched the whole thing straight through. Is it amazing television? No. Is it fun though? Yeah. I mean, it's very, episode of the week. He has a new case. Monk's to get up there, walk around, do this.
He is such a character, dude.
But
it's so fun to watch.
Kills it. He kills it. So they're saying for this, though, for the Peacock movie, in the follow-up movie, Monk, a brilliant San Francisco-based detective, will return to solve one last case, a very personal case involving his beloved stepdaughter, Molly, a journalist preparing for her wedding. Everybody's coming back for it. So for me, I'm all about this. Bring on some Monk. Let's do it now. Sabrina, you hear about this. I know I got you kind of into Monk a little bit. So are you excited to see Monk coming back for Tony Shalhoub to be one more time getting into the case and washing his hands or what?
Normally, I would like to punch this in the face, but in this specific instance only, I'm super into it and I can't wait to see it. Honestly, I love his character. I love Monk, the character of Monk. I love both of his assistants. I love Stottlemeyer, which is Ted Levine in real life. I've worked with him. He's an amazing person. He used to call me Beanpole. Love the guy. I'm actually giddy about it, and I'm absolutely going to watch it. And I hope it lives up to the series because it's some of the most lighthearted and fun, like quirky television that you could ever watch.
Yeah, it's so good. I mean, honestly, it's just the characters. The characters shine through so much, and that's what it is. And
their relationships with each other are so great.
Yeah, they really are.
It's amazing. I'm excited.
And they did this whole thing during quarantine where it was like Peacock did this before, where they had Monk in quarantine. And you can see that on Peacock, actually, where he's double washing his dishes and stuff. And he's spraying because of COVID and stuff. It was like Monk was losing his shit because he's already germaphobe. And now COVID was out there. It was pretty good. Jake, have you ever watched Monk before? And are you excited about this? Or what do you think about this? You've never seen Monk at all? You probably, come on, not once on USA? Ah, well, thank you.
I haven't watched it, no. But I never even read. I didn't even know what the premise was. I just knew it was Monk, right? And I heard a lot of people talking about it, but I never really got into even any of it. So now that you're talking about it, and I understand the OCD part, it's interesting. So
yeah, it's like he goes to a crime scene and he starts rearranging stuff. Monk, don't do that. But he's but it's uneven, and he's trying to fix shit in the crime scene.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it sounds cool. But I haven't seen it, so I couldn't really tell you.
It's funny, right. But it's worth watching his performance alone, and then everyone else how they kind of they want to strangle him a lot of times. They want to. A lot of them are like Monk. There's a lot Monk, of but he's the best detective. Because the premise really is he was the best detective as it was. His wife dies, and he kind of goes catatonic in a way. I mean, and then she was murdered, brutally murdered, like a car bomb. And then he can never solve her case. But he solves but then he can solve any case, but he can't solve his wife's case. And they eventually get him out of his home. But after she dies, he kind of goes into this new kind of persona, and he can't break it.
After she died,
yeah,
he got fired, and then they always are trying to get him back on the force, and it's this whole they're straddling the line of getting him back on the force the whole rest of the time because they're we need your help to solve this case, and he keeps solving cases, so they keeping let's let him back on the force, and but it doesn't really happen. That's the tension, which on a lot of shows it's there's a love tension. That was the tension on Monk, which was very interesting. It was is he going to get back on the force or not?
Yeah. And there's also the whole thing, I guess the ever-flowing storyline about him trying to solve his wife Trudy's case,
right?
And and they get little breadcrumbs throughout every. That's the one tying factor because it is very episodic. But that's another between him trying to become a cop again, and then trying to solve that case. And he thinks if he solves that case, it'll cure him, kind of in a way, So
Yeah.
that kind
Do
of
you
it kind of spreads out through the 8 seasons.
Do you think the movie is gonna touch on that? And
Oh, sure, of course.
do you think it'll be a tragedy, or do you think it'll be
I hope it's redemption.
a happy ending, like a
I hope it's
redemptive? Yeah.
I hope it was, because the ending of the show was actually pretty good, and he did get some kind of closure at the end of the show. So I mean, the way they ended, I was like, okay, I mean, I could see this being it, you know. But I just love the characters so much that I'm hoping that there's a reason that they're doing it. And they said that like it's the same creators from the TV show, executive producers, the same writers, everybody's coming on board that know and love the characters. Like I said, the cast is the same cast, so they must have. They have
probably
something.
get a really good reception, like from the COVID stuff. That
I
they
think
were
so.
Like, there's an audience here, you know, which is smart. Good for them.
And then apparently that Tony Shalhoub loved the script. Apparently they're all happy with it. That's why they came back. So it's gonna be fun. And the stepdaughter thing is something that he found out later that he had at the very end of the show. And so now they'll be able to branch into that relationship a little bit too, because they really didn't have a lot of time to touch on that in the actual series. So yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. I love it. I mean, again, it's one of those shows you just put on the background while you're doing anything, and then like watch it and not have to always be so invested in. And you'll laugh.
But then you
and
gotta pop in and rewind and be like, wait a minute, what just happened?
Yeah, because there is stuff that like that trickles in. You're like, wait a second, what? I'll keep watching this, you know.
It's so good.
Nice.
But Monk is coming back, everybody. Give us some more Monk. I'm excited about this.